Welcome, Internet family, to another episode of Love Chose You, the Marriage Movement. Are you aware that marriage is a business? We're not talking about the money that is generated from weddings and divorces. We're talking about your everyday marriage. It functions just like a business. Stay with us and we'll explain exactly what we mean. We'll be right back.
Free clothes, free education, free electronics, free food, free everything. Can you afford free? Get free products for yourself. Give away free products to others. Get paid. It doesn't get any simpler than that. Visit our websites. Your pocket will thank you.
Welcome back. How is it that a person can have a successful career, a booming business, and a lousy marriage? How is it that you see these moguls? They've been married 3, 4, 5 times, and yet for all, their businesses are the most wonderful and biggest conglomerates in the entire planet. How is it that a person like, and I'm going to name names here, like Elizabeth Taylor, can be married 8 times, have a phenomenal career, and yet for all, she can't stay married? Do you know why that is? It's because they put more emphasis and effort into their business than they put in their marriage. You see this happening all the time, and you may be a victim of the very same thing. You're not realizing that the same effort that you put into your business, or even better yet, the same things that you do in your business, you do in a marriage as well. If you have a successful career and a successful business, and your marriage, or you've had several marriages and they've failed, then you just need to switch priorities, because you weren't given your spouse in order for you to just say, hey, look, we have a nice house, we have a nice car. We mentioned that in the last video. That's not the reason why you have your spouse. You have your spouse again because your responsibility and your job is to make sure that your spouse is saved. Your spouse goes to heaven. But let's look at some of the aspects of business and see how it relates to my marriage. Let's look at commitment. Have you made a commitment to your business that you're going to do everything that you can possibly do in order to make sure that your business functions at its highest level? Well, if you've done that, why haven't you made a commitment to your marriage? That you're going to be committed and you're not going to make any decision that is going to, under any circumstances, alter the situation, your marriage situation at this particular point in time, or at any point in time. You've committed to your business. You have to make a commitment to your marriage as well. One and the same thing. Take your business practices, use it in your marriage. Now, the only time I should have said this in the beginning, is that the only difference in your business and your marriage, if your wife or your spouse is your business partner, then you're sleeping with your business partner. But if you are not working with your spouse and you're working outside the house, hopefully you're not doing that. Well, that'd be the only difference. But just about everything else that we're going to look at over the next few minutes applies in business as well as it applies in marriage. Let's look at quality time. When you go to work or you go to your business, do you spend quality time building your business? Making sure that you're there, doing whatever you have to do in order to make sure that your business is built solidly and is working on principles because you're there and you're putting the time in? Then are you spending quality time at home with your spouse? It's the same thing. You spend quality time with your business, spend quality time with your spouse, and make sure that the time that you're spending with your spouse ends up being time where you build some memories, just like you have for your business. Oh, I remember when we first started the business and we didn't have this and we didn't have that. Same thing with your marriage. You've got to spend quality time building it. What about communication? Do you communicate with the people that you're working with? Do you communicate with vendors? Do you communicate with different people that you have to communicate with in order for your business to grow? Well, then why aren't you communicating with your spouse? You have to communicate with your spouse. You have to make sure that you praise your wife. I'm talking about husbands now. Praise your wife. Make sure that she understands that she is the most important person to you on the planet. You communicate to your employees. If you have employees, you communicate at work. You got to communicate at home as well. What about faithfulness? You don't think that faithfulness is a business principle? You're faithful to your objectives. You have goals for your business. You write out a business plan. You say, this is what we're going to do in the business. This is the different things that we're going to accomplish. Well, you got to be faithful in your marriage as well. Under no circumstances should anybody or anything get into your marriage and cause any division in your marriage whatsoever. Under no circumstances do you look, see anything else, anybody else, any old girlfriends. That's a tough lesson to learn, but all of them have to be cut off. Faithfulness. And that's the lesson that many men have to learn. No friends, no... Listen, that's just the way it is. So if you're faithful in your business, you got to be faithful in your home as well to your spouse. What about being transparent? Do you keep books, proper records, proper tax documentation, legal documentation, and you're above board and you make sure that if you get investigated or audited that there's nothing that is seen to be out of place? Well, you got to be transparent to your wife as well, to your spouse as well. No secrets. You got to make sure that everything is above board. Your wife knows where you are. Your wife knows when you're going out, coming in, when you're... We're going to talk about that in another video. But you got to make sure that she knows. You got to be accountable. You accountable to business practices. You got to be accountable to your wife as well. That's a business principle. It's a marriage principle as well. What about respect? You don't take your business for granted. You don't do your business any old way and conduct yourself in a sloppy manner or so that people don't respect you. Well, same thing at home. You have to respect your wife so that she gives you back love. Simple principle. These are the same principles that you use in business that you're going to use in marriage as well. You're not going to look at them as staunchly as that, but they apply the same way. What about love? Do you love your business? Do you make sure that you're going to do everything that it can so that it continues to support you and your family? It's the same thing with your wife. You got to love your wife as well. Now, that might seem that it's, you got to tell me to love my wife? Yeah, I'm going to tell you to love your wife because many men don't do that. They're more concerned with being the breadwinner and bringing home the bacon, so to speak, those of you who eat bacon, that they're not concerned that the same principles that I'm doing with my business is the same thing that I got to do at home so that my home operates not like a business, but I'm functioning, and it's functioning the same way my business functions. So marriage is a business. You even have employees. That's why you have kids. That's a joke, actually. But the kids actually can work for you or work in the home. But what we're trying to say to you is make sure that you understand that if you have a career, if you have a business, and you have a booming career and a booming business, then your marriage should be booming as well. Your business, your marriage should reflect what's happening in your business. Now, if you're unemployed and you're broke and you're up, then that's a whole other thing. But that doesn't mean that your business that doesn't mean that your marriage has to suffer. It shouldn't have to suffer at all because you can still apply the same principles that you would in a booming business to have a booming marriage. Thanks a lot for joining us for this episode. We'll see you next time when the subject will be you. God bless. And remember, love chose you.